morning and afternoon, metalheads. I'm Al Ditton. As you know, I'm with Underground Noise WebZine. This is webisode number 113. Today's guest, as promised, is a surprise guest. Really doesn't need much of an introduction. Welcome the legendary Piotr Vader.
Come on, just hello. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you, sir?
That's pretty good. Just busy as always. No,
Yeah,
but good. Thank you.
that's wonderful. I'm glad you could be my guest.
Pleasure to be a guest.
The first question I would like to ask you, Peter, is how have you withstood the test of time, considering you've been doing this for 40 years?
I have no idea. It's just when I started to play, I was a fan who just wanted to give a little bit more, and not just a listener. Just I wanted to play, to stay on stage. Just give some crazy tunes. And but I never ever expected just to survive more than 5 years, maybe 10. But yeah, everything start to so quick, and more and more, I started to be more and more deep in the music and the creation. And then the band started to be a band, so we started to play more and more, and then an album, and I I have no idea when the time just gone, and bum, 40 years. It's unbelievable, unbelievable. It's funny because like I can't feel it. We Vader was, it was all the time 100% in action. So I have no really time just to get old and to think about like the time flowing. So maybe that's why. No. Still good to be active, and still to good to see fans still infected by Vader, and that's, I think, the biggest achievement since day one when we started all 40 years ago.
It's really amazing because I haven't heard anything from back then, but the most recent that I've heard from you guys is Solitude and Madness.
All right, last album. It was the one we released in totally bad time for a band, because that was actually the time when pandemia started uh, its action. So we are pretty much grounded, not totally, because like compared to the other bands, to friends playing in the other bands, so we are pretty much active. So we still played at 50, 80 shows in 2020, 2021. So it's not that bad. But of course, the shows were different. Some of them were like funny, with all these sits, people trying to keep sitting. It's really hard to keep sitting, when the death metal is on stage. You know that, right? But I'm sorry.
That's all right.
but but we did it, and I'm happy that even pandemic could not stop us. So Vader is just like a machine, and looks like we still keep going and keep going. Yeah, but all in all, 40 years. Bum.
It's just amazing because I saw you guys in Atlanta with Crisian and Decrepit Birth, and you guys put on an excellent set that night.
Thank you, buddy. The US is US is metal, and the times is changing, and like the metal music in the US is changing as well. But I feel something like a flashback, like the new generation of metalheads. They even look like we were looking when we were teenagers, and we were infected by the vicious sound of early Metallica, Slayer, or all the thrash metal. When thrash metal started to exist, we're looking for like more extreme. We're looking extreme, and we were extreme. So I'm really happy. I'm really glad, to see the young generations like Banging Heads and the French Roll just coming back, and this is a future. So it's so good, and an honor, to see the old diehard fans standing next to the young guys, sometimes sons or daughters, who listen to the same music and trying to find the crazy time and moment in this perfect music.
Yeah, it was kind of funny at that show because when Christian was doing Ace of Spades, I was in the pit and all of a sudden I fall down. and someone picks me
Oh,
back up and just throws me back inside there, says, "Get back in the pit." I'm like, "Okay, fine, I'm there." But it's kind of hard to
no,
yell at somebody when the music's playing, you know?
yeah, the classics always work. I think that's one of the reasons why Vader keep converting the songs, keep doing the covers, just to keep the spirit going on. The old classics, from 70s, from 80s, from 90s. For the new generation might be a little bit alien, but this is the beginning. These are the roots, and we should to remind it. And the best is just to remind it on stage. When you can just bring back the old classic. That's why we call it classic, right? So this is classic, and it will be classic. So, and Ace of Space is definitely like an iconic classic song of iconic band. So we should to keep the spirit going on, and we're definitely gonna like keep it doing in the future as well.
Yeah, first time I ever saw you guys was May 31st, 2006 at Castaways in Ithaca, New York. That was a show with Cataclysm and The Absence. It was supposed to be with
It's
Graveworm and Destruction.
I do not remember all the shows, and it's really not possible. So we play like average like 100 shows every year. So after that many years, so imagine that it's just not possible. Sometimes it's easy to remember the early shows because they were like a first, and not that many shows happened back then. So it's easy just to keep in mind the last shows. Sometimes the shows when something happened, but it's sometimes the good shows they just next and next because they're good. So it's it's weird, but sometimes like you remember like the bad moments more than the good moments. It's like
Oh, absolutely.
humanity. So it's but no, I remember the tour, but I do not remember this this very show from New York. But New York is New York, so it's so I don't think so. We ever played in US with no New York included. So we're always around.
Yeah, it was really interesting because you guys did the cover of Rain and Blood that night. And after you guys were done playing, I went outside. I'm like, Vader made me break my neck, everybody. Now I can't walk and I can't even feel my face.
I'm sorry.
Oh, you shouldn't be. I thought it
But
was great.
Slayer is just like with Black Sabbath, with Judas Priest, and like some more bands. That's like one of my favorite bands. So I definitely like to listen to them and like to play the songs. So I just mentioned why. So Red in Blood. Now I think turn we turned more into Halloween because it's a little bit. It's the other classic of the band, and especially now when Slayer just retired, so it's absolutely necessary to bring back the songs to remind them, because they created too many great songs, and they should be kept, in the metal minds, definitely.
How old were you when you first started playing guitar?
I was already in the band Invader because when I met Zbyszek and we started just to think about like doing the band together, I was playing bass, and it was quick after we met, quick after we do a first jam session, like a first rehearsal, let's say, and he told me that I played just too intense and too much as on bass and I should play guitar. So and he just helped me to purchase a guitar, the cheap one, of course, and that how it started. It's just like that.
That's really cool. Are there any bands out there that blow your mind nowadays?
Nowadays or back then?
Nowadays, like say for an example, are there any death metal bands out there that just say, "Holy shit, this is great"?
As I am not that good in memory anymore, but I'm trying to follow what's going on, but definitely not like it was in the past. I had so much more time, and just to follow the what's going on. But it was not that many bands. Like today, it's just like a hundred, 1,000 bands, and many of those are pretty good as a players, but it's for me, born in the old days, the old blood guy, old blood, death metal fan. So I'm more into like creativity, and sometimes, I'm not that focused on like how good you are able to play, how fast your fingers are, but mostly into creativity, into songs, like, and there's it's not that good today, but still there are bands um, who know why they play this music, and it's not just to show up their abilities. First of all, just to have fun, because this is the first of all. It's like if in the past, when the older bands like started to exist, usually they were very poor in playing, and the abilities are almost nothing, but still created very, the legendary songs together, which became legendary today. And because the music, the metal, and emotions and fun, that was the first of all. They were just they Nobody gave a fuck about like how good they own instruments. That was not priority. That was evolution that came later, and it should be the abilities should help to create more, but shouldn't be something instead of creativity. And today, sometimes the young, very good guitarists, drummers, they forget why they're doing what they're doing, and they put too much attention on technique, and instead of just fun and feeling. Of course, that's my opinion, and
Yeah.
that's why. But still, mm, many bands we are touring with. Uh, they they gave us so much like inspiration, not just with the music, also with the personality. Because like it's good to know that the metal still creates good people and not just rock stars, like happens like in the music in general. So you mentioned like the Cataclysm is not a young band anymore, right? But very good, and trying to keep them. In Poland lately, there was a band I heard just two songs in the internet first before I get more before I hit the first album. They call it Hellfuck, and they maybe just because they they sound and they sound like the death of thrash metal bands from early days, and this is pretty natural because like the drummer, and there's some guys playing, they know like really young guys. It's a young band, but like mix of older guys and the new guys, and the effect is pretty good. The music is very very intense and very emotional, so which I like. And I mentioned just one band because I just listened to them like yesterday, so but it's definitely more, and every year brings the more names just to keep in mind and to remember and to follow, and so I do, just without mentioning and like proper names now, but definitely not like in the past. No, I do not have that much time just to follow, but I do. I'm trying.
Yeah, that one show that I was telling you about in Ithaca, New York, when you guys played at Castaways, I thought it was interesting because you and Mauser were sitting outside of the place, and I walked up to you and said, "Hey, can you sign my poster for me, Peter?" You're like, "Yeah, sure." So you signed the black and white poster while Cataclysm actually signed their In the Arms of Devastation poster for me. You and Mauser
It's
still keep in contact?
yes, yes, sir, yes, sir. Of course, like I think most of friends who are playing, who are a part of a band, I'm in touch with. So it's really hard to mention any I'm not in touch or I don't want to be in touch anymore. So this is just, usually like, so if somebody decided to leave or just I decided just to quit with somebody, there were reasons, and it doesn't mean that if we're not playing anymore, so we should to be enemies. It's just life, and I never ever pushed anybody to play, force anybody to play Invader. But if somebody decided, so there are some rules to follow, and and you can't just go on stage like you were going to their work. You know, this is a musical. Many people coming up, they pay like for entrance. They expect like the honest show, and this is not any like a routine. You know, and even if we're older and we're busy, we're tired, sometimes we can't show it up. So nobody, you know, care about that. You know, so we should to give as good as possible, and that was mostly the reasons why we quit with the other bands with the other band member in the past. You know, sometimes they gave up because they couldn't stay like this intensity, you know, on tour. They wanted to just stay more in the houses with the families, with the loves, you know, and you know, Vader is it's a very good life, but it's definitely not easy life, you know. So it's you go, you travel, you meet people, you discover places, but you have no time for your private life actually. So that's the you know the sign. This is a curse. You know? This is the sacrifice you should to understand. You know, so like many young people, they like when they trying to tell me that oh they jealous, they wish to be like me, like a band that's so good to be in a band like that for years to be a professional band, but I usually say that you do not really know, you know, that this is not really hard. It's of course it's definitely intense and great life, but it's not easy. And before you decide to join that kind of life, you should to try first because this is really, really not anybody can stand it. You know, I sacrifice myself because I love it. I love the music. I'm still a fan, and that's probably the main reason why I'm still able to do it, and I still love to do it, you know. But many friends just gave up in the past, in the meantime. So this is how it is, you know.
Yeah, it's not always peas and carrots, you know.
Mm.
Sometimes you got to put with somebody's foot funk, but you know, who knows? Maybe
You
that.
know, people. This is normal, especially when we're young. We expect so much from life, from everything. Especially today, when you know we know the business, even metal, heavy metal is now a huge business. You know, if you mention bands like you know like Metallica, you know like you know this really high level bands, you know they millionaires, you know they like rock stars, like they in TV. So everybody want to be like that, but not everybody knows the beginnings, know the price, you know, for this. And this is how it is. It's like each success means like hours, days of hard work, and first of all, no time for yourself. No time for yourself and for you, families and everything. So you should forget about it first. No, it's really, really.
What do you like to do when you're like have a day off from touring? Say you're not doing a show that night.
uh you catch me when I have day off, you know, actually I'm trying to fix my house because there's not much time to do that. And we busy like almost every weekend. I go somewhere, like we get some, we do not have that many festivals, but not many to be busy. So I'm like between the travels and trying just to use the time, you know, with my wife, just trying to fix the house, like do something that we do not usually have time for. And so you catch me now just in the middle of work. So that's my, you know, sometimes if I have a little bit more time, I try to spend with my hobby. It's like uh, making the models, the tank models, you know, or just collecting the stuff, you know, little things, but little things which make me happy. You know, that's all about like hobby, you know. Let's say.
Absolutely. Have you ever thought about building your own customized guitar?
Me? No, no. I have some models made for me, but I still, you know, like V-shaped lover. I started to play with this kind of guitar, like and like with the next when the time was better for us, you know. So I got better and better models, you know. And this year I started to cooperate with the Pavel Kametsky. It's a custom guitar. It's pretty good. And for many years I was cooperating. I endorsed Ran guitars, but unfortunately, because of the lack of good people to work with, so Ran just stopped to work guitars, and I really hope they will be back because that's really good guitars, good instruments. And I got some propositions, but I'm not like a guitar collector. Like I got some models I was dreaming to have before, when I never had the money or even opportunity to have, like some Gibsons V, and this kind of stuff. But I got like different models, maybe like 10 of them, and I mostly use them in the studio, because the stage, that'd be just like not a good idea to use like old guitars, like on stage, just not the proper one, and too bad, like the Vader shows are pretty crazy, and it's really easy to destroy or crack or whatever, and the people sometimes jumping in like on your head, like it's like I do not have really new guitar anymore. Like each guitar got the cracks, or like something broken or whatever. So since I have a good service, so after like few months it might be repaired, but still, So I rather like to use the new guitars, the my models, my like made for me, and they're fresher, they like armed with the pickups. I can make the proper sound with, so altogether, it's an instrument, it's something which makes me happy, and I can play on stage, but it will not replace me. This is just an instrument. I'm
That's
not instrument collector. I just got as many as I need. That's it.
What would you say has been the craziest thing you've seen while performing?
Oh damn it! It's pretty hard to say. What is crazy? I know it's usually many shows, crazy shows, were what I remember were in South America and Mexico, or and Poland, of course. Sometimes we had some crazy moments in the East, and Australia, when we started to play, it's pretty awesome too. I mean, like some crazy mosh beats, or like, but sometimes like it's even dangerous when the people get on stage. I remember I probably 3 or 4 times I lost my front teeth because somebody like jump or hit my mic stand, and I was not like ready just to step back and just mic crush my teeth. Like it was just too
Ouch.
late. So the 3 or 4 times I lost. I mean, they're cracked, just like I had to visit the dentist, of course, after that the next day, and of course it pissed me off. But what can I say? That's crazy. That's death metal. If I wouldn't be afraid of that, so I would play, some music been sitting. So I know the danger. I know how it is. This emotional. So I know that because when I was visiting the metal shows when I was like a fan, or so I was jumping and get crazy as well. So I adore it. I love crazy fans. That means metal, right? So, but of course, for playing, it is not like nice, because like I really hate just to stop playing because somebody like hit the head with my pedals, like demolish, or like pull off my like jack from, like, what what I'm talking about. Just like uh stopping in the middle of the shows never works good for bands nor for fans. But as I said, sometimes in the smaller clubs it happens, and I think everybody is afraid of that. So everybody's knows the situation. So what can I say? It's as far as, if there's not a situation like back in Mexico, when some crazy girl just ran on the stage, like catch my hand. I couldn't even feel this pain because of adrenaline. But after the shows, like I had some bruises in my hands. It was like, it happened like a few times to me like that, and I can't feel the pain. But after that, I see like, what the hell is that? And it was just like bruises, like on my hands, like because somebody just catched me so hard. and with a screaming in my ear. You know? So from one, as I said, from one side is crazy, it's nice, but from the other side, it's just sometimes kind of dangerous, you know. But as I said, and, this is metal. You know, this means metal. Metal is pain and blood. Sometimes that's how it is.
That's what we call battle wounds, right?
Right?
Yes, sir. Someone's got to do it. And look at you guys. You guys been doing it for 40 years, and my band's about to release a demo pretty soon. We're called
No,
yeah, we're called Nightmare Crypt. It's just two of
that's
us
demo.
though.
All right. Two. It
Yeah.
reminds me the old the Samuel when we met for the first time, and I was 90 or 91, I think. They were playing in Poland for the first time. Different band, of course. There was very black metal. Just this the two guys were like drummer and guitarist, and they made so huge noise and atmosphere, like just two people. So I know that it is possible.
Oh
It
yeah.
is possible.
Yeah, I got a friend in Colorado. He's handling the drums and the bass and some of the vocals, and he's also going to do the mixing and the mastering. I'm just doing guitar, vocals, and lyrics.
All right. Oh, I think. Wait a minute. It's an Austrian band, the Bolzer. They played like a duo as well, as far as I remember. So yeah, it's not common, but it happens. If you got an idea, if you're able to play and create something you feel just with two guys, why not? Yeah, create them.
Yeah, absolutely. Just go with the flow and bang them
Yes,
out.
sir. Exactly. That's
Yeah.
all about.
What made you choose the name Vader for a band, and or how did it come about?
Star Wars, of course. You know, we are looking for a good name with a meaning, and because we wanted to be extreme metal band, so the Vader was perfect. You know, it was just good name, good meaning, like and of course that was taken from the times when the Empire Strikes Back, I think. So of course nobody was, nobody knew anything about Anakin Skywalker or what happened decades later. So for us, Vader was a very dark person, and you know that explained everything. Vader. So everybody knew that. So everybody expected the band playing the dark music. From a dark side, exactly. So that was. But of course, we used the name and we used some symbols, but not straight. So we didn't want to be like connected with the movie with this man. Especially after years when we discovered that Vader means also father in some languages, in Dutch or in Norwegian, I think it means father. And then back then, nobody yet knew that we will become a father of metal in our own country. It happened, but that's how it is. We were just looking for a good name, and we found it after we watched those first episodes of Star Wars. Of course, that came from the movie straight.
I had a feeling that was a Star Wars reference, but just wanted to make sure.
I am fan of Star Wars. I'm not crazy fan. But I like the movie. Maybe more the old episodes and maybe the last ones. What happened in the middle? It makes sense, of course, for the whole saga. But if you're older and you were growing up with episode 6, 7, and all this first, made, so you feel different, so you don't really follow the part which is made not just for it's just for kids, and like a family movie or something, but okay, so it makes sense as I said, so it's just like parts the whole story explained, so I absolutely understand, but as I said, I am fan. I got many friends who are a part of 500 the first it's regiment. That's I think the name of the guys who kind of reenactment of Star Wars. They start troopers. They start the stormtroopers. They made all these original suits and they made the meetings, and it's international. So many of my friends, they were part of the new movies. They're like they play in the background, like reenactors. So that's kind of a hobby. But why not? They have fun, and it's crazy. We even had a pleasure 10 years ago. It was like 30 anniversary of Vader, and in Warsaw, where we invited them on stage. So we had a kind of guard after we finished the show. The guard came in. The Vader itself, the full suit, everyone came in with the stormtroopers. We put the Imperial March on that, and then we show up with them together just to say hello to the people. Just kind of, event, but everybody loved that.
I'm sure that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, pretty much. That's all about it.
That's really cool. Well, I'm trying to think what other questions I've got for you, Peter. What would you say is your favorite Vader album?
I hate that question because I do not have any. So I like all of them because each album had its time, and each album was a part of my life. So it'd be really hard to say which one is it's just like my favorite. And
Okay.
never the last one, because usually the bands, they say like the last one is the best. No, the last one is your last one. And I can't even say which is the best because it's not me who decide about that. The fans, that makes me happy. Fans decided different, and many of them got just a different titles. And of course, we have like milestones, like everybody mentioned, De Profundis or Litany. Lately, the Ultimate Incantation or Solid Madness, last one, as a favorite, but they're still different. So that means that we are not a band who recorded one and two albums and that's it. And so good to know. So the album, so we are Vader. Of course, we are Vader and we will be Vader. We stay Vader. But we evolve in our own way, and the world around us is changing, and that influenced me as a composer, and definitely influenced the music itself. So we will be Vader, but definitely slightly different with each next tune, each next album.
Yeah, I love every single release you guys put out equally. There's not one that ever disappointed me. Because every
Thank
time I
you.
listen to your
Thank you for
music, I'm
that.
like, holy shit. These guys are so unique that it just makes my ears
You know,
bleed with intensity. In a good way, of course.
intensity is my name. That's right. But of course, like I do not want, I'm not able to satisfy 100% of Vader maniacs around. But all Vader maniacs are Vader maniacs is because they know what to expect from Vader, and they know that we never disappoint. We're not looking for better, or get better reaction in the press or whatever. So we just follow the path we started 40 years ago, and we just evolve in our own way. But it's still intensity is still the priority, and I don't think anything will change in the future as well. So Vader intensity, that's like a family.
That's right. Do you ever see Vader releasing a self-titled album?
Vader.
Yes.
I don't know.
I mean, there's so many bands out there that done self-titled albums. I don't know if Vader was ever going to do it or not.
We'll see. We'll see. The future may, like, we'll see. But really hard to say, to tell what the future will bring. Anything may happen. This is Vader, right?
And like I said, you guys really kicked my ass back in March when you guys played in Atlanta. I was just like, I can't
So
believe I'm
we
seeing.
we plan to come back in the early 2024. I'm still waiting for some ultimate dates. There's some prepositions, but we have just to make sure that everything will work properly. So we think like February, March, that will be a time when we will be back with the 40 university setup. Because like the last time we were, so we're trying just to fulfill the gap We try to because like this is actually the tour we're supposed to play 2 years before, just because of COVID pandemia, so we have to postpone everything. But now it's time to bring back the 40 anniversary set list, which we start late August in Poland. And this is going to be like a nice walk through the history of Vader, starting with the decapitated saints from the first demo tape, step by step till the last album. So this is really, so this is some, of course, this is some surprises on the tour. But they it will not be a surprise if I say what is that going to be. But definitely we'll have some guests on stage, and definitely gonna do something different in each next show. So there will be some song or two like played just on a one day, not just every day. So we're trying to make it as a special event more than just like next tour. So we'll see. So now we are about to prepare for that one, and everything is half made already prepared. So we get dates, we got everything almost ready. We got the team, everything. So I just need just to make sure that all the details with like a pyro, with the lights and everything will be like working together properly, and all the gas and everything. And I'm sure it will be more than fun, this time. And I really wish to bring this to US and as well. It will be
That'd be
special.
so cool. That would be so cool to see you a third time. Because, like I said, that when I saw you guys for a second time, I was mind blown. I'm just like, I can't believe I'm going to see Vader again. This is so fucking awesome.
Yeah, no, it's just yeah, yeah, and just thank you again. And no, I really hope that we will be back. Because I really like to play in US. The last two tours were more than we expected. So so if we know that the fans in US they're still ready for next Vader trip, next Vader show, so why not? So we are more than ready for that. So.
That's awesome. Because I would love to hear you guys do the Nomad. That's one of my
Nomad
favorite
again.
songs.
Nomad was the common tune on a tour when we're like promoting Litany, right? That was Litany. Am I right? Yeah. So it's just too many songs. I'm crazy at that.
That's
But
okay.
the time will come to bring back, Nomad on stage as well, because there's like so many songs that people are asking for. We're not able to play all of them, so we're trying to just to bring back like a few songs which each next appearance, just to make it smooth. Do not repeat everything like on the previous tourings. That's why I mentioned the next appearance in US is a special one, because that's going to be more like a trip to the history of Vader, which is already different than anything we did before.
It's just amazing how you guys have been together for 40 years. It's just, I don't
Right?
know. I don't know how those things happen. I mean, look at Cannibal Corpse. They've been
Me neither.
almost the same amount of time, you know?
It's good,
Cannibal's still
it's yeah. It's just I think every time I meet the cannibals, the last I met them last year, I think, in Poland. Hey, they still amazing, amazing people, amazing music, and I'm so glad to know that such a band still exists. They never give up. They never surrender. They still like going on. Very good. Proud of them.
Yeah, they definitely know how to brighten someone's day with the cover art that they've got. Because I remember the first time I saw Butchered at Birth, and I was like, "What the hell is this? Holy
Yeah,
shit!"
yeah.
Caused a little bit of controversy, kind of like the band called the Meat Shits, or say, Queef Huffer or something like that. Because there's so many different bands that want to, cause controversy. I don't understand
Mel,
why.
you know, that's because that's why because it's a metal, it's and there's so many bands trying to use like controversy in the different aspects, just to give attention, just to make people thinking in some proper way. Like some with shocking people, you still like. push them to think about like everything like around, you know. So that's one of the reasons. Like, metal likes, you know, the shock, and metal likes the you know, this the forbidden themes, you know, and this is good. Somebody should to do that, right?
Well, someone's got to do it. Yeah. I don't see why not. My next question for you, Peter, is a two-part question. How do you sustain your energy, and also how do you keep from losing your voice?
You know, this is the biggest problem actually, because you can't change your strings like in the guitar. If there's a problem with your voice cords, so you have a problem, and you have to just stop now for a moment. Fortunately, I never really had like a huge problems with my voice. I think I teach myself, you know, just the experience. That's called experience, I think. Because I didn't want to sing in the bands. First of all, I was pushed to be a singer after our old singer could not, you know, sing in English. You know, now we are about just to prepare the Necros demo tape with the first songs written in English, and because we had no time to like look for another singer, so I said like, fuck it. So I try. And since then I tried just to sing different ways. You can hear it when you listen Necrolust, then Morbid Drake, then Ultimate Incantation or Deprofundis. You see, like I was just looking for the proper for me, like the way of voice emission of a singing, screaming. And I think around Black to the Blind, around Brecklemont or Litany, I found like the way I see follow. I just evolve. I try to make it better. I try to use a different pitches, like when and screaming or singing, to make it not that boring, you know, the songs. But people, you know, fans tell me that they can recognize me. So I think that's achievements, you know. So that's a good thing. And but as I said, when I was not ready to be a singer, that was just by mistake. Let's say, like I had to, somebody had to do it, so I I took the mission, you know, and I just stayed. And now after that many years, so it'd be hard just to change it, you know. Just hard just to play guitar, you know, and without singing. And but you know, as I said, like maybe few times in the whole history of Vader, I had the day after the show that I lost totally voice. And I think just once we had to cancel the show, but that was once. That was after Impressions in Blood came out, and we had we had 90 days tour actually. So that was 3 months almost non-stop playing. So imagine that. It was really hard just to keep it without problem, you know. And especially after we are playing almost every night, you know. It was really just sometimes we get like 2 or 3 days off in between the packages, you know. But the whole tour was 90 days. It was like 3 months in a row. But you know, sometimes I got a problem, and then some old laryngologist, right? That's the name of a doctor caring about the voice and everything. So I remember I lost my voice, and the old doctor just like put the fingers inside my throat, hit me in a links, and the voice came back like that. That was just funny, but I was so happy. I was so happy that of course, the voice was still far from good, but at least I could continue with a crappy voice, but still, right? So sometimes I'm half lose the voice. It's not the one I like, but I don't want to cancel the show. So I usually warn people that it's not going to be as good as I wish to show, but it's still better than canceling the show just because the voice is a little bit not that good, right? So, but as I said, I'm trying. Just I'm definitely not drinking hard liquor after the show, because that makes everything so dry out. So I'm not really. It's really impossible just to keep the proper voice for next show. So that's one thing I learned from a touring. So no hard liquor straight after the show. So and you know, just some things, but as I said, like I'm happy that I learned just to keep my voice in a proper way and in a proper condition, just to continue work, even if it's intense on tour and the next day show, something like that.
I can always tell when it's Vader being played because you guys have that distinct sound that nobody else really has. I'm just like, that's Vader playing. And people ask me, well,
So,
how do you know? I can just tell.
sound sound is experience. I think of course when we started and when we listened to the first albums, you can feel more influences straight from the other bands, but that's pretty natural, and you need time to find out your own way, your own tunes, your own sound, let's say, and there's too many aspects, decide about that, so. But as far as we're recognizable by fans, it means that we found it, and that's good.
Yeah, you guys are just utterly amazing no matter what. Keep up the excellent work.
We will, promise.
Right. I highly recommend people listen to Vader because if you haven't listened to Vader yet, you're missing out on one hell of a band.
I agree. Thank you.
You're welcome.
But I totally recommend just to check us on live, on the shows. The records is on different records are records, and you can of course just put it loud from your own, like a home stereo. Of course, steel metal is still alright, but never. It's nothing compared to the real metal show. Especially for Vader. We are a band created to play live on stage, and if you want to feel the 100% of Vader, come to see the show. Come to see us live on stage. That's a proper way.
That's really cool. Well, Peter, I've got 2 questions left for you, and I'll let you get back to doing some work.
Please.
Well, yes. What would you like to say to your fans out there?
Always huge respect for support metal at all, not just Vader, of course. Because like I know it sounds like common, but it's still truth. And without listeners, without fans, no band could survive. No band would make sense. So we are fans and of the music, and we just understand the feeling, and we just trying to do more and not just listen, also to play. That's the only difference between us as a band and those who come and bang their heads in the front of the stage. So huge respect and for understanding, for supporting, and can't wait for the next Vader show. So always welcome, more than welcome. What can I add?
Hey, that's all good with me. Well, I've only got a couple minutes here, and my last question would be, do you have any final words for Underground Noise WebZine? I'd like to tell you thanks for your time today, Peter.
Thank you. Thank you. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm glad you could be my guest. Thanks again.
Anytime.